This video is to help us learn how to find an angle using trigonometry. We're going to add in using the second key to give us the ability to find the missing angle. When we hit the second key, that will give us sine to the -1, cosine to the -1, or tangent to the -1. Each one of these is giving us will give us the angle that we're looking for. So let's go ahead and try this method. Make sure your calculator is set to degree mode. The first example says sine A equals 0.4226. If I want to find what that angle measure is, what A is, I'm going to hit second sine, that gives me sine to the -1 of 0.4226. It's the inverse. And so what I'm looking at is A equaling what? In your calculator, you should have got 25. The A value, the sine of A should be 25 degrees. That angle is 25. So I'm going to give you a few more minutes to try and find the other three angles, and then on the next screen it will give you the answers to check. Okay, by now you should have been able to do the rest of those. Angle B is 48 degrees. Angle R in example 3 is 15 degrees. And angle Z in number 4 is 56 degrees. So now we're actually going to look at this and how we're using it to apply triangles. Remember, on your worksheet you have 6 steps that will help you to find these, but we're going to go ahead and look through them each on an individual basis. Okay, so for example number 1, it says find the missing angle of x. The first thing we need to do is label our hypotenuse, and I marked the angle first. So then I'm going to go ahead and label each side. The hypotenuse is the side that has a value of 14, and remember it's always across from your 90 degrees. And your opposite side is the one that's marked with number 5. Go ahead and circle the two side values that we have. We have the opposite and the hypotenuse. We're not using the adjacent, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it out. Which trig function would we use to solve this problem? You guessed it, it would be sine. That's opposite over hypotenuse. And so then we just write our equation. Sine of x degrees is equal to 5 over 14. Remember earlier I said if we're trying to find the angle value, we hit the second button, then we hit sine, and go ahead and put in our fraction, 5 divided by 14. Our x value, our angle, would be 20.92 degrees. That's pretty simple. Let's look at the next one. We have a right triangle. Go ahead and mark the angle we're using, or the angle we're looking for. It's the angle that has the x value. Then we label each side. Hypotenuse is across from the 90-degree angle. The 5 is opposite the angle that we're working with, and 14 is the adjacent. Next, we'll circle the sides that we're going to use, and that's the opposite and the adjacent. And I went ahead and marked out the hypotenuse because we're not using it. It gives us no information. So if we have opposite and adjacent, what trig function are we going to use? That one is tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So then we write our equation. The tangent of x degrees is equal to 5 divided by 14. Take the inverse, or hit second tangent. Then we plug in the fraction 5 divided by 14. The angle value here is 19.65. Now that you've worked example 1 and example 2, we're going to look at example 3. Find the missing angle x. mark the angle that we're looking for, and label each side. The hypotenuse has a value of 14, the opposite is across from the x, and the adjacent is the side that has a value of 5. Mark the angles we're working with. That would be the hypotenuse and the adjacent. I've circled both of those. And I x'd out the opposite because we're not using it. The trig function that uses adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. So the cosine of x degrees is equal to the fraction 5 over 14. We're going to take the inverse of the cosine to get x by itself. So we have x degrees is equal to cosine to the negative 1 power of 5 of 14. So in your calculators, hit second, cosine, 5 divided by 14. So our x value would be 69.08 degrees, and that would be the angle value. That's how you find the missing angle in a right triangle using trigonometry. Now your assignment is in front of you. Please don't forget to complete your assignment from yesterday if you needed the calculator to finish it. And have a great weekend. I'll see you when I get back.